Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of CEO Chat. Yes, I'm your host, Shawanna Kennedy, and I'm excited that I get to talk to entrepreneurs, business owners from around the world to just have a chat and conversate about the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly of being an entrepreneur, being a CEO. Having these conversations, I know sitting in the seat myself, it really does help because I believe iron sharpens iron. And having these conversations, whether you are a business owner, whether you are thinking about being a business owner, I think sometimes leaning in and hearing from some of the experts in their field, it helps us to be better at what it is what we do. So I am excited that I get to have a homegirl conversation with Dr. Tiffany Anisette Pringle. You already heard it, you already know. Her resume is extensive and she gets to do a lot and she is proud of it. We know that she is a woman of faith and know that with God, all things are possible. And that is a part of her energy. That is a part of her spirit and what she gives to the people that God entrusts her with, right? But I'm excited. I'm glad that you're here with me and you're joining me for another episode of CEO Chat. So help me welcome Dr. Tiffany Anisette Pringle.
Hey. Hi.
How you doing? I'm excited. So welcome, Dr. Tiffany, to CEO Chat. Well, I know we pulled you away. Look, I know she is always on site, guys. If y'all don't know it, this is an entrepreneur that does not, a businesswoman that does not let any grass, as my mom say, on her feet. She keep it moving, and we get to do it, look, sometimes together, and I'm very overjoyed and privileged to do that. So just say, hey, Dr. Tiffany, what's happening?
Hello. I love the way that sounds. Thank you so much for addressing me there. Yes, I do not stop. I'm so excited to be here with you. No grass grows under my feet.
Oh, look, I think, look, you know, anybody know me, I'm always thinking strategy, right? As a CEO, as a business owner, and I love that. So, you know, look, we'll talk offline on that one. But I love it, and I'm glad that you pause to have this conversation because oftentimes people say they don't know what they don't know. And I believe in having a platform such as this, lean into the entrepreneurs who's considering certain things, or even doing it to know that they're not alone, they're not by themselves, that there is a reward, but then there also is work. So, with a lot of the things, we know that you've had the opportunity to work as a professor, work on a college level of doing some global training. We'll even jump in right there. What led you down the path to then say, I want part of my specialization in working when you were working with Clayton State? How was that with you being a global trainer, even with Clayton State? Let's jump in right there.
So, my doctorate is in education for the specialty in global training and development. And the reason I chose that is I want to take the message to the world. I realize that we are in a world now that we can talk to people across the globe, and I wanted to be able to do that. I didn't want my messaging or my training to just be in the United States. I wanted to seek opportunity out there in the global market. So, what better way to position yourself is to do a training, get your doctorate in global training, right? It says it right there. It's make you the subject matter expert. I absolutely love training employees. HR directors bring me in not only to do the training, I create the training and facilitate for them, customize this information, and really bring the content to life. I think I have this gift of taking boring content and bringing it to life, not only on the screen if I'm doing a virtual webinar, but even in person, having individuals be engaged. So my passion is training and development. And I remember many years ago embarking on, I want to be a speaker. I want to be a motivational speaker. That's a lot of people's goals. And I didn't realize that this whole training component, this sector, was as fruitful as it has been for me, or that it existed. And had I known that then, I think I would have started this direction first and then went on to doing motivational speaking,
Well,
inspirational.
because now, see, you're talking about it, so that's great. But you have been on several large and small platforms, been the keynote speaker, been the conference, done conferences and being brought in to do the conferences. So you definitely have, look, several notches under your belt for being known, look, around the globe for doing the keynotes. So to me, I believe we know God has his perfect plan, and those things were not for naught to then, I say, better position you, because then it allowed you to do some of those things. So then stepping into this, you already have what he was doing was, look, wax on, wax off, giving you some of that, some of that taste for some of that, so that when you were able to dive into it and then make it part of your specialty, and you going into your doctorate or PhD for education, I think that is huge. And if you don't know, I'm telling you, if you don't know, you really need to know. Her running her own company and thinking about Inspire, it truly does speak to the woman that you are, not, minus the degrees, because you as a woman, it speaks to the woman that chooses and wants to inspire others to be their best and be their best now, not just what we used to do, what we're doing in the present and what's to come. So being and having your own management company, also then training, how have you been able to navigate that? Because I do know that you really do travel a lot, by choice, let me say that. How is that navigating managing your own company as a CEO, and then you're still pulled to do trainings? How do you manage the two?
Well, it's all in one. If you think about it, the company is a training company. And I will travel to the location of a particular client. You schedule this out. So, 30, 60, 90 days, a lot of trainings are scheduled out. But what I love about my position as owner, CEO, one that calls the shots, right? I get to create my own schedule. And
Mm,
that's what makes it work, because a company can reach out. What they're going to ask first is, do you have availability on this particular day? Or can you work this in your schedule? That way, it gives me time to plan. And I'm enjoying life, and I'm working, but I'm not working. I'm traveling, not always for work, but I have the luxury of being able to do both, because as a CEO and you're running your own company, you make the decision on where you want to spend your day working, right? And
yeah.
now that we're in this global environment, this global world where you can just open your computer like we're doing now and work from anywhere in the world, it's possible to be anywhere and still get things accomplished.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you being, and then let's talk about that, because being anywhere in the world, speaking to people all over the world, you get your grace to be the wife of the bishop, right? Right. What you don't know is that she is a powerhouse, and she has a power. Look, that guy, that king, bishop, he is behind her, and she has beautiful children. When you think about being a CEO, we can't not talk a little bit about the family, because you're not a single woman, right? You do
Right.
have a family. You are married. Talk to us a little bit about how is that navigating those waters when you have your own dreams and desires and ambitions, but then also being a support system for who the partner, your purpose partner, who God has put in your life right now, for such a time as even this, because of course we know that he foreknew it, and he knew that you would be stepping into all of these waters, doing all of these things. And how is that navigating this space?
Well, nicely, I would say, because not only am I creating my schedule, but my husband's creating his schedule, and we are able to work together. Um, and show up for each other. So my husband runs a television network, and he's constantly, editing videos and, putting showcases on their platform. That too is ran from anywhere in the world. So just like last week, we decided, let's go stay at a resort, not because we went on vacation, but just because we wanted to. And we have the opportunity to work from anywhere. So I am supportive as a wife, and I'm supportive as a businesswoman, because not only am I able to give as a wife, but I'm also able to give as a businesswoman, where if there's something he doesn't understand or needs me to help with, I can step in and do that. Some bishops and some pastors have wives that don't have that part of them. They are submissive. It's whatever my husband tell me to do. I haven't grown or evolved, or they haven't gone to get education to be more. It's living in the shadow of their husband, whereas our relationship does not depict that at all. I don't have to live in a shadow. I had my companies before we got together, and now I've expanded to more companies. And a lot of it we do together because we're always together. Like, you see him, you see me.
Okay. Yes, amen. And I really do think that's a beautiful thing, because I do get to, of course, like I say, have the privilege of being close enough to see the beauty of how you navigate it. But because we talking about CEOs and we talk about the good and the bad, see, part of that is what you said too, being able to travel and then have that freedom to set your own schedule, that freedom to say, hey, this week we will be working from this location. We will then say, hey, you know what? We need to be in a different climate because of, just for a change of scenery.
Yes.
That is designing. And I say, I love it when we get to live our life by design versus default.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, it really is that. And that's the beauty, because we do know that it has its times when it's a little bit more challenging. We know that, and we dare not try to paint a perfect picture to say that you don't experience some struggles and some challenges, right? Because I believe as an entrepreneur, you probably put in twice the amount of time on a clock as a business owner, as an entrepreneur doing these things. However, you can still create your own life by design. And what did you say a few minutes ago? You talked about the
Yeah.
freedom in being able to do that. And let's add that, since we're talking to CEOs or potential CEOs, you remove the cap off of what someone else say that you can make. How about that? So
That's true.
yeah, and talking
Definitely.
about that, the good, but sometimes the bad. What have you seen in you navigating from one profession or one area of business to another? Let's talk to someone that where, because to let them know, yeah, you know what, every now and then I've had some nights that I've had to stay up. I've had a few nights that I probably, even if I didn't want to cry, I definitely felt like crying. Give us a little bit of background on some of that, and what was that like for you? What were you doing when that was happening?
Well, I have to say this: when you're transitioning from one type of business into another type of business, there is what you call a learning curve. So you have to take time to learn that new business. And sometimes learning means I have to shut off everything else that I am participating in. So, case in point, I've been very active on Facebook last year. I did quite a few things, 77 days of inspiration, and some other things. But then there was a time where I was in a shift that I had to come off in order to focus on honing my craft, my new craft, right? And position myself to learn and absorb everything that I needed to get to be successful. And I mastered it, right? But I devoted all of that time. And although my friends and, my constituents, like Miss Shawanna K here, would say, "Where are you? We haven't seen you on social media." I'm like, head down. I'm doing some things behind the scenes. And when I arise, you will know why. So out of that came this new company called TAP Insurance Group, which I'm really excited about. Tiffany Anisette Pringle Insurance Group. And I just landed this huge contract with Inspire. So I have been able to, you know, put that together, and all of this stuff was happening behind the scenes. Like, I wasn't visible to the people on Facebook that don't write my checks. But I was working and diligently doing things to continue getting more checks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out, where does your attention and focus need to be? Is it social media? Is social media feeding you financially?
Mm-hmm.
It's good for its purpose, its place. Everything has a purpose and place in your life. So what are you putting as priority in order to get money that you need to pay your bills, right? Because it does not grow on trees, right? I can manifest it, but I got to put some work in to manifest it. And I truly believe in the power of manifestation. I live by it. um and when I'm having those difficult, challenging times, that's when I really have to go within, meditate, think on things that I desire, that I want, that I need, so that they can show up in my life. But there are things that I have to do to make that happen. And when I am going through a transition period, or is a time where I have to set something aside to get something else, not only am I quieting the space that I need to make it work, but I am also um, preparing my finances
Mm.
to make it work, right? I'm putting myself in position to say, okay, we're not going to spend this kind of money right now because we're building this, right? And then once this is up and off the ground, we can splurge some more, or we can move into a larger space, or, have some more things that we like. Um, I love eating out. And those, I think, I think that's one of my biggest um things. I don't even know what you want to call it, but I
It's one
love,
of your pleasures. It's for all of that hard work. At least let me eat good.
yes.
There it
So
is.
I love
There it
finding the best restaurants, the newest restaurants, any restaurant I haven't been to, I want to go try it out, even if I just go get an appetizer, right? That's my treat to myself. And my husband and I, that's our thing. Like, let's
I
go
love it.
celebrate.
I
You
love
got a new contract. Okay, we'll be celebrating that
I
tonight.
love it.
And that helps us keep going, because you're celebrating the small steps as you move to the bigger picture. And right now, I've just launched, and I would say relaunched, because Pringle Insurance Group was in existence, and now it's Tiffany Anisette Pringle, solely because I am focusing on some things, and my husband has something totally different that he's focusing on. So this is my baby. And my what I'm doing now in the trenches is preparing contracts, signing contracts, getting signage, getting all of my swag for events that I'm going to be doing, right? So a lot of things are going on behind the scenes, exciting, although I may not be visible to the public right now, but when I am, I'm ready for the public,
Yeah.
right? So whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be intentional, and you got to figure out what are the priorities and put it in that order. You work it in that order. So, and remember, with God, all things are possible. And
Well, we weren't going to try to go, we weren't going to try to go there, but any CEO that I believe, and definitely the people that I get to have the opportunity to be in their space, have conversation with, that is the not so secret ingredient, is having and knowing where to put your faith and your trust into having that relationship. I'm excited that you are sharing all of this, because I know there's other entrepreneurs who, even if they're not married, they want to be married. So that this will even help them to say, hey, it is a thing to really looking for the right purpose partner, calling that person into existence. You talked about manifesting those things, but then we know also manifestation requires you to do more than sit there and you have to get up and add some action into that. And knowing that that is your not so secret is having a savior, a creator that you know that constantly when you are weak, that is what renews your strength. You know where to tap in, who to tap in with. And that's the beautiful piece to saying as being a successful, because there's a lot of CEOs and business owners, but it's to what level are they really counting the success? To what level are they counting the cost? Because if you're saying, yeah, I may have an additional zero or two, an extra comma or so, it's then, but what is it costing you? How is that success? What does that look like? So I'm glad that you're pausing to, you know, give us a peek at some of your world, look at some of the, you being transparent as it relates to some of the things that are going on with you, some things that you've done, some things that you're doing in the midst of doing, talking about that. And I appreciate you pausing for our CEO chat. And right before we get ready to get out of here, I'm going to want you to have your moment to then just lean in and talk to that entrepreneur who really might be considering doing something like this. If they're doing it, just to give them some hope to just, hang on while they're doing their work, right? It's the planning, it's the strategy, and continue to do that. So, but I want them to hear from you. So, right now, it's over to you.
All right. So, what I would say to the entrepreneur, the budding entrepreneur, the one that wishes they can be an entrepreneur, you may have the 9 to 5, you may have someone taking up some of your time, but I don't want you to neglect starting that business, building something for yourself. It's okay to have that side hustle. That side hustle may be a multi-million dollar project in your future, but it takes you working at it. Nothing happens overnight. And I tell individuals all the time, keep the 9 to 5, like allow them to fund your dreams. Work that business, that side hustle, like a second job. Give it all that you have. I heard someone say, never work harder for anyone than you work for yourself. So go hard for you. This is your opportunity to create something that God has put in you. He didn't put it in there for nothing. He put it in there so you can pick it up and take the ball and start to run with it. So I would say, like the book of Isaiah, write the vision, make it plain, and run with the vision. Put action to the vision. Get it off the paper and start putting it in the universe, in action, making something happen. I promise you, what you need will attract to you. Who you need will attract to you. You will have everything you need to do to start, to begin, to connect, because you're putting the work out there. And I'll share this one little story. For me and my businesses, the moment I pick up the phone and start making calls, the moment I start doing something actively in my business, that's when I start getting more business. It is the action that you put out in the atmosphere that brings back more to you. What you put out is what you will get back. So put out everything that you have so that you can get more back and start building what you truly desire. That those are my words.
I love that. Oh my God. Y'all don't even understand. I'm excited. And I'm so glad that you paused to have the conversation with us, because when I think about your company, Inspired, that was very even inspiring for me, because like I said, it's having the conversation, the chat with another CEO, because we can have family members, but they have a different road, they have a different lane that they travel, and it may not necessarily lead them down the avenues of business, right? And so having people that you can lean into, have a conversation with, to say, no, the way I'm feeling, you're not crazy. You're normal. It's normal. These are the highs and lows. That's why I love that you say that you celebrate, and the way that you celebrate, because that is a great thing. And oftentimes, not that it's not being done, you don't hear people say that. Just finding someplace nice to go and just say, I'm picking someplace new. Why? Because I'm choosing to do what? And I'm big on that, celebrating in the middle, because oftentimes in between those goals, we wait till the thing is finished before we pause and be present to say, thank you, God, for what's happening right now. I love that you said about, tying it all in, definitely writing the vision, making it plain, and moving in action in that vision, because it takes all of that. Because you can't say, Lord, I want this, but you're not giving him something to bless. You're not moving so that he can move you the 2, 3, 4, 10 steps further, faster, because he says she's ready for it. He's ready for it. And so I love it. I love it. I love it. You already know how I feel about you. You don't. Y'all, I love me some Dr. Tiffany Anisette Pringle. And we get to do certain things together. I'm privileged to be able to call her friend, not just CEO. I'm privileged to be able to call her sister. And I thank her for her constant support for the things that God has assigned to me. I appreciate you all for looking, for listening, for leaning in, for even sharing this, for telling someone the importance of whether you own your business, but God has given you your life. You have authority over your life. So even if you start with yourself and making you your CEO of your own life, what does that look like? Because you do have to be able to navigate those waters of the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly, but then get into the heart of the matter of what really matters most. And it's about you. And so that the people that you get to touch, whether it's right in your own home, in your own company, right, or even your community, it starts with you having and understanding who you are, whose you are, who you are, and what that means as a CEO. Appreciate you, Dr. Tiffany Anisette Pringle, for gracing us today. And we will see you guys, again, for another episode of CEO Chat. Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Kennedy Media, your ultimate partner in content creation, video recording, and digital marketing. Be seen, be heard, and increase visibility in your business. Contact us today at KennedyMediaLLC.com, KennedyMediaLLC.com, and unlock your brand's full potential.